and this is why I believe that doing such a fork is actually is going to be very important, because if you look at other projects like Ethereum Classic, for example, it just lags so far behind the Ethereum main ledger. A lot of the DeFi stuff, a lot of NFT stuff is just not on Ethereum Classic. So I do believe that it is important that we get a merge. We get a proof of work Ethereum done before the merge. Thank you.
That's awesome. And it's always good to have another option for people, right? I always believe that. So YH, if you can come up next and just tell everyone who you are and everything about yourself.
Sure. Hi, I'm YH. I'm a community member at Moledao, and we are actually a blockchain ecosystem which aims to build, grow, and empower all crypto and blockchain enthusiasts. So I've been in the space for around 4 to 5 years, and I think previously we have been through the other significant event in Ethereum blockchain, which is the DAO hard fork, and I think this merge is actually something that a lot of us are anticipating. So I'm very excited to be here to discuss with everyone and to chat more about this Ethereum merge that is upcoming next week.
Nice, that's amazing. And then the last person, I believe, Leo.
Yes, Leo, founding partner of BitCoke Exchange, another centralized exchange just like Bybit. And I'm from traditional finance world before joining BitCoke in 2018. It was a security firm in Hong Kong. And at the moment we are working with Ethereum hard fork partners to assist in their efforts to hard fork Ethereum. Remain proof of work. And this is definitely a defining moment for the Ethereum blockchain, and I'd like very much to hear your thoughts and perspective in the merge. Thanks very much.
Definitely, and I do have some great questions for you guys today. So the merge of Ethereum is getting closer, expected around the 13th to the 15th. Some uncertainties are reported from time to time, whether there'll be a delay or what will be the impact of the success or failure of the merger. Could you guys give me an opinion, and who would like to go first? Would you like to go, Jenny?
Yeah, let me go first. We've been talking about the merge for like 2 years, I guess. So it's been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. So if it's delayed again, I'm not surprised. I got many concerns, but I think this time it will go smooth because it's been going smooth in the testnet. So after the merge, just very excited to see what's gonna happen. And I know many projects and many people are ready for the fork, just like Dr. Z and Peng here. So I'm also wondering, because I'm working on a NFT marketplace. So most of our NFT, 80% of our NFTs are on Ethereum. So I'm kind of wondering what's gonna happen after the fork. So I'm here to learn. So would love to hear more from other guests. So I'll pass the mic to our next guest.
I would love to hear Andy's opinion on this one, to see what he thinks.
I was being asked for some comments from one of this media company this morning. I think one of the main concern, maybe two of the main concerns is this. Maybe YH and Z can add on later on. What I'm more worried is number one, whichever chain that is going to be forked, whichever brand that is going to be forked, whichever has the most liquidity and the most support will be ultimately, the real thing. My concern is this, as the fork is happening, and the POW projects, are also, trying to work very, very quickly to try and grab hold of different markets. My one concern is, would there be more confusion, in the whole Ethereum space? And then the second question that I have would be the assets on the Ethereum POW, 1 POW, 2 POW 3, and then of course the ETH2 that is on POS. Would there be a time where assets are being mixed up and scammers would take the opportunity to come in and and look at all this duplicated asset which is everywhere, so I still find that there's a very big opportunity for people to fork right now, but also a very big downside for for the normal crypto consumer, who is just trying to buy some good asset. There might be some scammers that are trying to do their best to scam and make some money during this process. So these are some of my concerns, but of course, the key thing is provided next week they launch everything smoothly, and I'm really looking forward to hear what good things can come out with with this with this new POS Ethereum and all the rest of the Ethereum fork that is on POW. Again, the mic can go to Z or go to Leo or YH. You can comment a bit more on this.
I agree with Andy what he said regarding retail, because from what I know, I think for this Ethereum Merge, most of the developers are already ready to go, and we do have all the clients already synced up already, so everything seems to be well prepared and the merge should happen pretty smoothly. But I think like what Andy mentioned, that issue may be with retail users, because retail users, they may not be so savvy with all the changes, and what may happen is that what if they get scammed? And I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of scammers going around, even on Twitter as well. When you comment on a tweet, you post a tweet, you will see a lot of scammers. So after the merge, there may be more confusion, especially for retail users who are not so familiar with the merge. But personally, I would think that for native crypto users, we are more savvy and we kind of know what is going on, so it should move smoothly from here. Just that the issue may be retail users who are not so familiar with the scene. There may be points where they get scammed, which is pretty scary, because there could be a lot of things that will happen, such as withdrawal being suspended in exchange, or maybe even some scammers impersonating another Ethereum fork and people actually approving the transaction. Yeah, so there could be issues with retail users.
I absolutely agree with the point. And so first of all, whether the Ethereum merge will go through, I think very likely, 99%, it will go through this time, because if it doesn't go through, they've already put in the difficult bomb. Basically, the entire Ethereum network, as we know it, is just going to stop. So that's going to have very serious repercussions if it doesn't go through. So the fact that they've already done that, I think that they actually have some pretty high confidence. Now, in terms of the experience from the retail side, so I've been actually in the space longer than Ethereum. I've been in the space since 2011, Ethereum since 2015, and I think the biggest difference, with Ethereum versus other projects like Litecoin, Dogecoin, all the other ones that came before Ethereum, is that I guess the core developers or the Ethereum Foundation, if you like, they never stop changing things. I think this is in one way this is probably good, because you do sort of see a steady improvement. I'm not even sure if there is a steady improvement, because Ethereum, they actually haven't changed that much, but they do make these very random changes. So I'll sort of give I'll give an example, right? So when they announced that the mining reward for Ethereum go from 3 Ether to 2 Ether. That was not a rule that was pre-written like Bitcoin, right? Once you get over so many blocks, your mining reward halves or something. This was something that basically Vitalik called a meeting. Actually, sorry, it was EIP that got proposed, and then they called a meeting, and basically everybody sort of agreed. But then everybody at the meeting they're all from ETH Core or from ETH Foundation, right? They're not from the from the greater community. So it's actually have these are very centralized control.
Stop.
And likewise, when they announced EIP 1559, if you look at the way that it was carried through, it was actually the control was very centralized, and it was somewhat random, right? Because in a way, I think 1559 makes sense, but just the way they actually enacted 1559, I sort of don't really like the way that they've actually done it. So in my opinion, I actually think, what is the best Ethereum? So the best Ethereum, I actually think, is one that don't change. We need stability more than anything else at this stage. I think if you need scalability, for example, you can have like a side chain or like a layer 2 project. They can deliver scalability, for example. Some people may want more privacy than the standard Ethereum, that they can do their own maybe ZK type of layer 2. But as the base layer Ethereum, layer 1, I actually think the best Ethereum is the Ethereum that does not change. And this is why I think keeping the proof of work Ethereum is so important, because whatever happens, I think the community should know that at least this version of proof of work Ethereum will probably be like this for a very, very long time. Okay, so maybe it will cause chaos, but I really hope that this is the last chaos that it's going to cause. At least on this particular fork of Ethereum. And there's one other comment that I sort of want to make. I know that in the space, a lot of people call the post Ethereum being the Ethereum Merge, and every other proof of work being the Ethereum fork. In a way, that's kind of not true, because the Ethereum as we know it basically dies on September 15th, right? I think every chain is a merge. So every chain is a fork. It's just that Vitalik decided to, do a proof of stake fork, and everybody else decided to do a proof of work fork. So I guess what I want to emphasize is, we're not actually the fact that they have the supporter of the founder and the Ethereum Foundation doesn't actually make them more legitimate than everybody else. So everybody else is actually on equal grounds. This is what I want to say.
That's awesome. Perfect. I didn't hear No Fame. Go ahead, No Fame.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hope everybody's well. What's going on, Andy, Scott? Good points all you guys make. YH, also Dr. Z. So I had a question for you, Dr. Z, as well. And I agree with you guys with the point that you made, that there is going to be a bunch of, hackers and fakers. As soon as this fork is complete, they're most definitely going to try to take people's funds. And again, that's going to be for the ones who are not as knowledgeable.
I think he's not on. He's not on. But I want to just touch a bit on what Z has mentioned. I think that everyone is not on the same fair ground. Not because whether the Ethereum Foundation is supporting the new ETH2, for example, or the merge. I think it's more about the consensus on how people on the ground and where the money is going to be at. So there is a chance for ETH POW consensus to grow, then the two questions will be which fork is it going to grow, because everyone is scattered. It's really scattered, and everyone is not really united. You see tons of different brands. Of course, there are a few bigger ones that we can see. And then the second thing will be, how strong of a liquidity would there be, in the ETHPoW network, because things will really change, as we progress into the merge and swinging all the different projects, from a POS to from a POW to a POS mechanism. So that change, is very drastic, and it will determine, which one will have more firing power, which one will have more money, which one will have more community, so forth and so on. Do you all agree that this is going to happen, or you think that yes, it's necessary to have a POW, but shit, man, I'm just going to do the POW. I don't really care, I work for I stand for the miners, so forth and so on. What's the real views that all of you have,
Yeah, I'll just quickly make a comment. So what I said is I don't think the proof of stake chain has any more legitimacy than the other proof of work chains, right? So by legitimacy, I mean, so for example, imagine if Satoshi comes along and say, okay, I'm going to create a fork of Bitcoin, and then my fork is going to be the new Bitcoin, right? Well, his fork is not really the new Bitcoin. Just because he's a founder doesn't give him that kind of legitimacy. Is what I'm saying. Now, in terms of market competitiveness, right? In terms of like market competition, yeah, I agree with you. They probably will have a lot more firepower. At least a lot more backing. From the community, from So in that way, yeah. So from a market point of view, they have a competitive advantage, over probably all of the proof of work chains. This much I agree. The second point was, is proof of work necessary? Right. That was the second point. So I actually think the reason why Ethereum is so special, versus, for example, you got the Binance Smart Chain out there, you got Solana out there, you've got Polkadot out there. I think the reason why Ethereum is so special right now is precisely because of proof of work. The fact that if you own something on, for example, Solana, and then, Sam decides one day that, I'm going to shut down my servers. Whatever NFT you create, whatever token you create, it's just going to disappear. So, I guess likewise with a lot of other proof of stake chains. Now, Ethereum is a lot more decentralized than those. It's simply because the tokens are a lot more decentralized. It's been around for a very, very long time. So I think in a way it's probably not going to be as extreme as those examples that I have given. But I do think the reason why Ethereum is special right now, is because it's proof of work. And once Ethereum switches to proof of stake, then you sort of look, you sort of look around. Well, there is no more smart contract platforms which runs on proof of work. So I guess the question is, do you really need one? I guess that's a real question, right?
I just want to interrupt quickly. I totally agree with Z on the point about POW. In fact, right from the core and right from the core of myself, I think POW really have a space in the whole consensus mechanism, and it makes a lot of sense using POW. I'm not a greenie, who thinks that it's going to take up a lot of energy, waste a lot of energy. I think those are really, really bullshit. I do agree with you for this POW mechanism, the consensus mechanism should stay. But the second question that I actually brought up was actually which fork is really here to help us, or is really the fork that's going to stay. and
I see.
the next biggest thing that we should trust and rely on. Perhaps maybe that's something that you can share as well, Nancy.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope it's going to be Ethereum Fair because that's the project I'm working on. But I will share some of my thoughts on what I think the successful fork should do for it to be successful. So for example, I think Ethereum delivered a lot of value to the crypto space from day one until now, or basically until the end of proof of work, which is like 15th of or 13th of September, 1 week from now. So from my point of view, I think every transaction made on the proof of work chain, on Ethereum 1, it should be recognized and should be legitimized by the new, by the new chain. So I understand that some of the fork projects out there at the moment, they've effectively taken a snapshot of, what the ledger, basically what the remaining balance is going to be, and then they've basically started a new chain with a new, with a new Genesis block. I don't think that's a very good way of going forward. I mean, I actually don't think that's a very good successor to Ethereum, right? Because simply you've sort of erased too much. The fact that So I think what makes Ethereum great is not just the current balance, but the entire transaction history. How sort of everything happened, because until you have that, this is what legitimizes what the current balance should be. So I think that's number one point, and number 2 point that I sort of want to make is because I have thought very hard about whether I should work on Ethereum Classic, right? So and the biggest problem with Ethereum Classic that I can see is that a lot of the development that sort of happened after the 2017 bull market. So for example, you've got DeFi, you've got NFT, you've got all the other things that's happening after sort of 2017. I think Ethereum Classic sort of they've parted too early, right? That they've parted. In fact, I don't even think Ethereum Classic has a lot of the ICO projects on it. Like it's basically got got nothing on it, right? And so if you look at how Ethereum Classic is going to compete against all the other smart contract platforms out there today, even if you look at, say, for example, like Binance Smart Chain or maybe some of the other ones, it is just so far lagging behind. So I actually think that all of the things that has happened until today should sort of should be part of the the new fork, if you like. That's sort of just some of my thoughts.
And we haven't heard from Leo yet. Leo, what do you think of the fork? Whether it's gonna go smooth, or do you think there is gonna be any issue or problem occurs?
Thanks, Jenny. Okay, I have not so much technical background like Dr. Z, but from the information I know, that POS migration is working very well, inconsistent with the schedule outlined by Ethereum Foundation. So if everything is going on as planned, I think the merge will be successful. And because from the tweet of Victoria, you guys may notice that he is very determined to make this happen. And I think that this merge will be going smooth without major troubles. And I want to add something about the debate or issues about whether POW or POS, which one is better. From the exchange perspective, I think that we are taking a neutral stance, because I believe that the blockchain should be full of competition that will further move the industry to a better place. And we all know that by Ethereum has become much more centralized after the POS migration. The project will, the Ethereum POS will be more and more determined and dominated by the Ethereum Foundation, which is led by Vitalik. So I think POW fork will be a very good tool to check and balance the POS Ethereum. And as a centralized exchange, we are supporting the fork, and we list the Ethereum Fair and Ethereum One and Ethereum POW. All of these three tokens are listed in BitCoke. So from at the moment, I think that the Ethereum Fair has the highest price. So I think it will have the brightest future. Thanks.
So Leo and Dr. Z, now what do you guys think? Do you think they're sacrificing, to promote more and get more scalability, to bring more customers and retail and everybody else in? Would they be sacrificing security as well?
Yeah, so I think, at least in my opinion, right? So I think if you look at the impossible triangle, which is decentralization, security, and scalability, I think in a way that you really should sort of have to give one up, in order to get the other two. Now, the model that I sort of like the best is the one that basically you have the base layer, layer one, where layer one is decentralized and secure, and it's stable. So it's like a bedrock that everything builds on. And then on top of layer one, you can have all kinds of layer two infrastructures. And the layer two infrastructure, some can focus on scalability at the cost of centralization. Some can focus on, for example, privacy, which is you probably have even lower performance, but it does give you privacy. So then I think it really becomes a matter of choice, right? Basically, what kind of thing you do in layer two. But in layer one, I think there is absolutely no choice. Decentralization and security has to be the top priority for layer one.
I don't want to go to very much technique because to sum up Dr. Z's opinion, he thinks that the POW should be the layer one consensus mechanism. I kind of support his opinion because POS, all these emerging blockchain in the last bull market, we see Solana, Near, or Avalanche. This new public blockchain are all POS mechanism. They've all go through some kind of issue. So I think there is very many uncertainties surrounding concerning the Ethereum's new post mechanism. So it's kind of a wait and see. Let's see how things play out.
I have a question for you guys, and I might be way off here, but do you think from proof of work to proof of stake, government regulation might get stronger on one or the other? I know they've kind of left Ethereum alone right now, but what would happen once they do this merge?
I think regulators will definitely be a lot stronger. Once because here's the thing, right? If you look at proof of work, basically it's whoever solves that that mathematical puzzle, right? Submits an answer and everybody sort of agrees and and it's like get the reward. So you could have someone who doesn't own any token of that network. Just have a very, very powerful computer, or somehow is very, very smart. Maybe figure out a new algorithm or something, and still be able to contribute to the network and hence get the tokens. Right? So this is how proof of work happens, and so I think that's going to be a lot more difficult for governments to figure out whether that guy is on that like list of sanctioned individuals or something like that. I think it's going to be very difficult to find out. But on the other hand, I sort of agree with you. Yeah, once you move to proof of stake, if you look at how the Ethereum tokens are sort of distributed. Well, first of all, a lot of them are held by exchanges, and a lot of these exchanges, they are regulated, right? For example, if you look at Coinbase, they have to comply with US regulation. So, if, for example, the US regulators tell Coinbase that you need to block transactions coming out of a certain address, which they've already done, right? They've done that to USDC. They've done that to a whole bunch of institutions, if you like. So basically, Coinbase has two options, right? So number one option is they will have to operate on a different consensus than everybody else that's participating in the network. I'm not sure if their coins are going to get slashed, or I'm not sure if, but something's going to happen, right? Or option number two is that this is basically what what the guy said. He said if something like that does happen, they're probably just going to opt out of proof of stake altogether, right? So I think if you look at the kind of uncertainties going on in the future, regulation is definitely going to be a very big part of the play.
How about yourself, Andy? What are your thoughts on it? Oh, I might have caught him at a bad time. How about you, Jenny?
Well, I think people vote for themselves. So, like, if you look at the wallet, like what we are willing, as individual investors, what we are willing to put into our wallets. Of course, Bitcoins and Ethereum, not USDT, not USDC, or those like more centralized coins. The reason why we choose to put BTC or Ethereum in our wallet, because we expect it's safe, because the government cannot touch it, because nobody is even they arrest Vitalik today, Ethereum will still be Ethereum. That's how we trust it. So if it turns POS, like as I don't know about government or the regulation, but as individual investors, I do have concerns. So maybe next time when I choose to save some crypto into my wallet, then I might only choose Bitcoin.
So we do have a couple of different exchanges here, and one of the things that came up is the fork is imminent. Some exchanges have expressed their support, and many major ones are waiting to see. What advice do you have for exchange holders that hold tokens right now? What is in their best option to do with what they're holding right now? Should they hold on to it, continue to hold, or is there different options that they should take?
Well, our exchange, Bybit, we haven't, announced anything yet. But I know there's internal discussion on that. But we are still watching. We're still watching how the market gonna react. But last time when Bitcoin fork, Binance said that they don't support BSC. So if you put your Bitcoin in their exchange, then you're not gonna get the airdrop. So this time, I don't know, maybe you need to withdraw your Ethereum to your wallet, so you secure your airdrops. I'm not sure, Leo, what's happening in your exchange. Why you decided to support all the forked chains?
Okay, so, thank you, Jenny. And BitCoke is a kind of medium-sized exchange, so we take a very active stance on the fork, because we believe that POW should be continued as a layer 1 for Ethereum. And so we listed the three fork tokens and provide liquidity. Even we have launched the derivative market for the 3 tokens. And we are working very actively with Ethereum 1 and Ethereum Fair, Dr. Z, to help them to promote the fork. So, and if you are an ordinary retail investors, you don't want to participate in this all these kind of issues, your Ethereum in our exchange should be the same as even after the POS migration completed. Nothing changed. So if you want to take part in the fork, you need to withdraw the Ethereum to exchange that support the airdrop, like BitCoke and or Get these 2 exchange, and or you can withdraw your Ethereum to the online wallet like MetaMask and wait for the airdrop. That's all I know, because I'm not. I don't have much technical background, and maybe Dr. Z or Peng Song should have some advice for ordinary users, please.
Well, I can sort of explain what happens on the blockchain. So by a fork, it's basically just a copy of Ethereum network as of a particular height. And then every block that sort of happens after that, after that height, every transaction happens after that height. Well, it doesn't really happen on the new chain, right? But everything that happened before the height is actually going to be valid, for the new chain. So, for instance, if in your wallet you've got I'm not sure, maybe like 20 ether in your wallet, if you don't do anything, then basically all of the forks you have like 20 ether off the new blockchain. Now the only problem is that if you don't hold the ether in your wallet, let's say you hold ether in the exchange, what's going to happen is the exchange wallet is going to get that 20 ether. If the exchange supports the Ethereum fork, what's going to happen is that on your exchange account you may just get your I don't know, maybe Ethereum Fair, maybe your other fork chains, it's just gonna appear at your sort of your user balance page or something. Okay. On the other hand, if an exchange doesn't support that, well, basically the exchange address is going to get all of the the new token, and it just and well, it's got two choices, right? Number one, it can just completely disregard and say, okay, we're just not going to recognize the token, and so hence we're not going to move the token, or it can just say, well, this is our token, right? We're just not going to give it to the users. So I think from the users point of view, So I think I think basically, if you actually want to get the new tokens, there's sort of like 2 things you need to do. You either withdraw to a wallet, or you withdraw to an exchange that supports the Ethereum fork. And let's say if you're just lazy or you don't want to do any of the 2, there's actually a third option. Okay, the third option is push the exchange, like whichever exchange you're trading with, push their customer service to list Ethereum Fair, because that if you don't want to withdraw to your wallet, the only way you're going to get your Ethereum Fair is the exchange that you're trading on actually decides to list the Ethereum Fair token. So please, everybody, push the exchange that you're trading with to list Ethereum Fair.
That's interesting. Andy, go ahead.
And if enough users push the exchange may just say, hey, we're going to list it. And as soon as they list, you're going to see it on your balance.
Okay, no problem. And Andy,
I just want to add on it to a bit. I think some exchanges, like Z has mentioned, they might just decide to keep the airdrop. But But I think the other reason is because some of these exchanges are also leveraging on the asset that they have. Some of them are already being pledged, so they can't do much as well. Of course, they will still get the airdrop. Whether or not they are going to drop to the rest, I'm not sure. And then the other point that was being talked about is, for centralized exchanges, it's all about the revenue. It's all about the traffic. So as long as the fork project has good enough traffic, all the exchanges will just give Z and Peng a very good hug and ask them to come on board. So all these things is all user driven, and who in the space, and as long as you can get the hype going, you have enough support. What Z is trying to say is that it will actually happen. Whether it's going to be this Ethereum Fair, or is it going to be another fork? It really depends on the competition, because the competition will be also rather intense. On which fork is going to stand out, and this will be a test. For all these projects. Is this just talk? But not going to market, or is it just wait for something to fall onto the ground? Because I believe people, Leo from BitCoke, they do support the merge, and a few other exchanges will subsequently announce over the weekend that they will support. But the problem is this: which one are they going to support? Which has the most firing power? Which fork can give them the most benefit? I think it's all about money, man. It's not about they love POW, or they love POS. It's not this bullshit. As long as you can make money, and as long as it's a legitimate project, I think exchanges will come and support batch by batch. This is my very frank opinion.
Yes, I kind of agree with you. Exactly the point. As a centralized exchange, we are very much care about traffic and users. So we list the 3 fork tokens, and of course, among them, the competition is very, very tense. So we'd like to see which one stands out in the end.
Interesting.
Cool. Leo, I'm kind of wondering, what are the standards, or what are the requirements, or what are the, qualifications you're looking at when you evaluate, which forked POW chain I'm gonna list, which one I'm not gonna list. What are the standards?
No, not much standards at the point, because that the POW had different teams, development team are working on the POW forks. So we contact all of them and listed all of their tokens. That's our strategy. So it's a very dynamic situation, I think, because I really don't know which one will be a winner in.
So you let the market to choose. That's cool. That's a strategy.
And basically, I think the deciding factor will be lying on the miners, which project will attract the most miners hash power. Yeah.
Cool. I know that Moledao is doing a lot of research and study on the industry. YH, do you have any suggestions that you to our individual investors, what they should do during this merge to maximize their benefits?
Thanks, Jenny. I think for retail investors who already have their token in big exchanges, I think it's best for them just to put it there, just to keep it, because for most of the big exchanges, they will typically be pretty trustworthy. You can actually just keep it there, and if what a lot of all of you say, Dr. Z, Leo, and Andy, if the token has a lot of demand, they will ultimately list it. So my suggestion will be for retail investors with tokens already on the exchange, especially well-known big exchanges such as Bybit. It may be better for you to just keep it there, because if you withdraw it to your own, of course, if you have your own hardware wallet, it works as well. But if you don't have a hardware wallet, you don't have your own blockchain-based wallet, I think just keep it in your exchange, wait and see approach. And if the token is good, the exchange will support it in the future. But for DeFi users and users who already have their own MetaMask wallet, have their own ledger, I would suggest them to keep it in their own MetaMask wallet and in their own ledger, so that you will not miss out on any airdrops. Because what happened for previous fork was that sometimes exchanges, they support the airdrop, but only after a while. So if you want immediate you want immediate gain, you want to immediately get the fork token, it is better to hold your token in your own blockchain wallet, because you can get it immediately after the fork, after the snapshot. But for exchange, they may take a while, because they may take some time for trade to be open. They may take some time to list the fork token as well. And another thing I want to add is that for DeFi users especially, if you have Ethereum in DeFi protocols, in stake pools, in liquidity pool, it may be good to consolidate and withdraw it from the staked pool, from the liquidity pool in advance. Because if you want to get the fork tokens, there will be a snapshot. So if your Ethereum is locked in some liquidity pool, then of course, because it is in some smart contract, the token may go to the protocol instead. So my advice to summarize would be that for retail users with tokens already in your exchange, better to just wait and see, keep it there. But for users with your own hardware wallet, better to keep it yourself, and also to consolidate your holdings from all the DeFi protocols in order to get the fork tokens ASAP. Yep.
Here's a question.
DeFi protocol is actually fine.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah. If you're actually providing liquidity in DeFi, you'll be fine. Because what happens in the new chain is that it's an exact copy of the same snapshot. So you're still going to be getting your LP tokens, and your LP tokens can still get your, let's say, I don't know, USDT or Ethereum in the new blockchain. But the only problem is obviously, you know, how much is your new Ethereum worth, or how much is your USDT worth? That's a different. That's an entirely different question. But you will still get your token. Yeah.
Here's another question for you guys, and then I'm probably going to open it to the floor. We do have a couple of people requesting, but what is the impact going to be on NFTs and the way they're on Ethereum? I know there's a ton of NFT projects on Ethereum. Will this impact them in some ways that we're not looking at right now?
You know what? I'm also wondering because I've been asking our internal team, like, what's gonna happen after, the fork, then we may so which NFT is the legitimate NFT. Let's say I have a Azuki in my wallet on Ethereum chain, and after the fork, then there will be many other copies of my NFT. Then what am I gonna do? Will I just get those NFTs automatically? I'm not sure. So I also want to ask other guests, what's gonna happen after the fork.
Yeah. I'll just sort of briefly explain what's going to happen at the smart contract level. So as I was saying, so at the snapshot, basically, everything that's on the old blockchain gets transferred to the new blockchain. So long story short, not nothing's going to happen, but you're going to get the exact same NFT again. You're going to get the exact same liquidity token again. You're going to get the exact same, I don't know, let's say, you did some loan protocol or something. You're going to get everything. It's going to be exactly the same. I think the only exception is probably some very special projects like Aave, for example. Aave says they're going to actually close Aave before the end of the Ethereum 1. So basically that means on the Ethereum 2 proof of stake chain they're going to reopen it, but on all the other fork, Aave is not going to reopen it. So that basically means Aave is not going to be available, right? But for 99% of the projects, you're going to get the exact same copy. So yeah, I mean, in terms of how the market would behave or how the market would price these NFTs, I've got absolutely no idea. But from a technical perspective, you're going to get everything again. In fact, if there's going to be 3 or 4 different fork networks, so you're going to get 3 or 4 different copies. So I don't know how I don't know how the market would react though.
Well, are you going to be able to sell it 4 different times?
Yeah.
Yes, you can actually sell. Let's say you can actually sell your, I don't know, whatever smiley face you have, on the Ethereum Fair blockchain to someone, and then you sell the other one to someone else. I'd imagine the smiley face on Ethereum proof of stake will be the most valuable. But how the value is actually distributed, I've got no idea.
I think I read online as well. OpenSea, they mentioned that they will only exclusively support the Ethereum proof of stake NFTs, but that's OpenSea. So maybe I think some NFT marketplace they will only support the proof of stake, but of course everything is on a blockchain. Technically, we do still have the copy, just that they may not be supported on the OpenSea's marketplace, for example.
Yes,
So if an NFT marketplace doesn't publicly state that they follow POS chain, so I'm wondering if according to your logic, there will be a copy of NFT in the POW chain, like Ethereum Fair. Is that right?
Yeah. So every NFT that currently exists on Ethereum today will also exist on Ethereum Fair in the future. But whether OpenSea will support Ethereum Fair, this is a different question, right? But
is there any liquidity for this NFT? Because if you cannot sell them, it means nothing.
Well, I'm not sure if I agree with if you can't sell them, it means nothing. But like I said, I think liquidity will be you get the best liquidity on Ethereum proof of stake for sure. On other blockchains, I'm not sure how much liquidity you will get. Presumably, it will be probably orders of magnitude lower than Ethereum proof of stake, presumably. And also it depends on how much support you get from these institutions like OpenSea. So I think a lot of the copies of NFTs, if you like, I sort of think my gut feeling is that they're probably not going to be worth a lot of money for a while. But then again, you never know. Maybe Ethereum Fair will grow, to sort of something else. So for example, NFTs on Binance Smart Chain, for example, that still sells for some money, right? So I'd imagine it'll probably grow to something, off its own.
Okay, got your point.
I think the duplicates will definitely happen. Like I mentioned in the very early conversation, it is all about the firing power and who has the biggest community. So if let's say example this new fork has a lot of good support from the miner, a lot of community members think that this new fork is going to make a difference, then I think the assets that is on the new fork will be worth something, because with the people supporting the project, there will be liquidity. And then when there's liquidity, exchanges and everyone will just swarm in and then to list them. So this is one scenario. The other scenario that I'm also in a lot of different groups. Some of these I would call them cowboys or basically assholes. What they are doing right now is the next thing that they're going to do is they want to gather all these people and then come out with a very left NFT marketplace where they only support the Ethereum POW NFTs, and then they are going to make it like a really low price thing, and then create new liquidity based on that kind of marketplace. So OpenSea and a lot of other marketplaces that are supposedly on chain, most of them already openly mentioned that they will support the POS and not support the POW. So this also gives an opportunity to all these guys out there who are trying to find a way to be more outstanding. So I know guys are already creating NFT marketplaces that will only support the new fork. So I think people like Ethereum Fair and a lot of other projects, I think they can unite together and then see what else they can do with that, because ultimately it's all about money, man. If the chain has money, if the chain has liquidity, or if the brand is good enough, I think people will still buy.
It's just something else I thought on top of my head. I know the way that Ethereum Fair is forking the Ethereum blockchain, right? We're basically taking the entire transaction history, and then up to a certain block height, and then we continue on from that block height. I think if you do it this way, certainly everyone who has an NFT on Ethereum 1 will still have an NFT on Ethereum Fair. But on the other hand, I am sort of aware of the way that some of the other guys are doing it. So, for example, if you just take a snapshot of everybody's balance, I'm not sure whether it's possible for them to still have their NFTs, or I'm just not that sure. And also, if you look at other projects like Ethereum Classic, certainly that was forked before the NFTs happened on Ethereum. So definitely with Ethereum Classic, you're not going to be getting any of the forked NFTs. So I think if you look around, to see how all the other projects are forked, I think it's possible that Ethereum Fair may be one of the few ones where people will be getting that forked NFT compared to other projects.
That's interesting. I wonder, like, people that actually stake their NFTs, because there is different projects out there that actually stake them, how that might impact that part of it. Because, I mean, are you taking a risk by keeping your NFTs staked versus unstaking them?
So I think I think that's a very good question. To be honest, I haven't actually gave too much thought about that question in the past. But on the other hand, I am aware that there's a lot of delicacy in how different smart contracts are related to one another, and this is why I think it's absolutely fundamental that you do keep the entire transaction history before you do the fork. So forking Ethereum is definitely not like forking Bitcoin, right? Forking Bitcoin, there's basically only one coin, and then you can just take a snapshot, in a way. But forking Ethereum is definitely a lot more complicated, and I have seen sort of the way some of our competitor projects. I don't really want to mention who, but just the way they're sort of like compressing everything, in a fairly simplistic way. It does worry me on whether some of these very delicate problems could actually sort of blow up. Once their sort of network starts to launch.
Yeah, I think there's certain angles that not everyone is looking at. It will be interesting to see as it rolls out what issues start to happen and people acknowledge that maybe they didn't look at that part of it. That's going to be my one question. What do you think, Leo?
I think it will be a very complicated issues to maintain the POW chain, because I as a retail investor, I don't want to get involved in this issue, because all these fork airdrop are some kind of very complicated for me. So I just take a back seat and just wait and wait until the POS migration completed. Actually, I have another question for Dr. Z, because several days ago in BitCoke's Telegram community, a few users mentioned that the Ethereum Fair was the fork was initiated by a community called Class Z, if I'm not wrong, and they give very good, say something very good about the community. Could you please give us some information about the team or the community you are working at the moment?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I actually know very little about the community member or the people we're actually working with. We basically work in a very decentralized manner. We sort of communicate.
Yes, they say that the community has kept a very low profile and but with very good technical background.
Yeah. So I mean, and to be honest, I sort of do admire the way that the Bitcoin project has been carried through. By I guess Satoshi. Could be like a group of people in a way. I sort of do admire the way that this has actually been carried out. And I think from Class Z's perspective, I think this is really the main aim of how they want to sort of build projects like Class Z, like Ethereum Fair, because at least in my opinion, I think for a good bedrock layer 1 project, I think stability should be should be the most important element, if you like, and in order to sort of achieve stability, once the project is up and running, it's probably good to have someone who is not a sort of strong leader, if you like, like Vitalik, who's always very outspoken, who always wants to change things, always wants to sort of govern things. I sort of much prefer the way that Satoshi handled, the way that he just like disappeared after like 2010 or something, and then all of a sudden, the entire sort of Bitcoin community, lost the leader. But then it turns out to that's actually the very best thing that's actually happened to Bitcoin, right? Because now all of a sudden nobody's actually making these calls, and so people sort of like treat Bitcoin as anything on its own, and it's something that's people can rely on, right? And this is very much what I hope Ethereum Fair can sort of like morph into. Something very similar to Bitcoin, where it's sturdy, it's reliable, and except it has this smart contract capability. Because I think once that happens, you will get layer 2 projects. They will probably want to build on it. I think particularly, look, I'm not sure if it will happen. But I think there is definitely a certain probability that Ethereum will probably run into some crises, if you like, in the future, whether it's to do with regulators, whether it's to do with unanticipated changes and this and that. So I actually do feel that maybe after Ethereum goes into proof of stake, for a while, maybe not immediately, but maybe like after 1 or 2 years, people will actually feel, maybe we should value stability more than, say, development. And really, this is the way I look at these projects.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. That explained a lot. I think you guys should get some publicity. I look forward to Ethereum Fair's performance in the future.
Thanks.
How about you, YH? Do you have an opinion on the last 2 things we were kind of talking about?
I'm just curious because we thought a lot about how we want to keep it to more proof of work. It will be kind of better. But what about Ethereum Classic? Because I was just thinking, since the great is going to proof of stake. But if we have so many proponents of proof of work, then you can just utilize Ethereum Classic because it is like the OG Ethereum chain after all.
Just some brief comments on Ethereum Classic. In fact, when I first looked at the problem, right, I actually wanted to work on Ethereum Classic, as the sort of go-to option. But it just turned out that Ethereum Classic is far too old. I'll sort of just give you one example, right? So you know how, like, if you for example, if you try to deploy Uniswap, not deploy, but you basically you fork a copy of Uniswap, and you can call it some other swap if you like. But if you want to deploy that on, let's say, Ethereum, it's very easy, right? That's why there's so many swaps out there, because everyone they sort of fork each other's code. If you want to deploy that on Binance Smart Chain, it's very easy, right? I'm not sure if anyone tried to deploy that on Ethereum Classic. It turns out you can't, because the virtual machine is just too old. Likewise, NFTs is non-existent, right? Because the chain is too old. The chain it forked way too early. That's the problem with Ethereum Classic. Everything that sort of happened between 2017 and today on Ethereum, everything happened on Ethereum between those dates did not happen on Ethereum Classic. So I think Ethereum Classic as a blockchain, the fact that it is 5 years behind the curve, I think it just makes it very difficult to compete, against, let's say, modern blockchains. Not just Ethereum itself, but also with other smart contract platforms, like Binance Smart Chain, like Polkadot, etc. And so this is why I think forking Ethereum at the end of its proof of work lifespan would be a better idea than to just go with Ethereum Classic.
Thanks for sharing, Dr. Z. And I had just one thing, just another point, because I read online that there is actually a group of developers who are keen to, develop something called Ethereum Proof of Work. So with, different groups of developers all keen to fork and have their own Proof of Work Ethereum chain, how do you think we can solve this? Should developers try to, work together more instead of having multiple fork of Ethereum trying to be the OG POW after the merge?
Well, to be absolutely honest, I haven't looked at every specific project, right? But there are some projects out there that I don't agree with their approach. So I think one of the ones that I sort of gave an example was the one that where basically they take a snapshot of the balance, and then they sort of make that into the Genesis block, right? So if for example they did something like that, then they sort of like so I'm saying that the balance itself is important, right? But also how you arrive at the balance is important, and the fact that all of their smart contract is goes into an absolute chaotic state, without having those details. So there are some approaches that I sort of don't agree with. I'm not sure if they agree with my approach, but certainly I think there are some sort of disagreements in the space at the moment. Now, in terms of how everyone can work together, I think the biggest weakness with proof of work is scalability. So that much I agree with Vitalik. I agree with everyone in the space. So to solve the scalability problem, I think the best approach is to be, building different layer 2 projects, right? So I think maybe one of the ways that people can work together is, let's say you let the market choose whichever layer 1 proof of work that you want to choose, and just so for example, if everyone end up choosing Ethereum Fair, and Ethereum Fair becomes the dominant proof of work, I would actually encourage everyone to build layer 2 on top of Ethereum Fair, because that's the only way you can get scalability working. And without scalability, I sort of agree. Proof of work probably can't compete with proof of stake because decentralization and security is actually these are very deep problems. The ordinary retail the ordinary retail investor probably wouldn't value decentralization as much as performance, right? If you say, okay, your transaction is secure, but you have to pay like $60 in gas fees, versus you pay like $1 in gas fee, right? And it gets there instantly, right? And the other one you have to wait for like 10 minutes. I think a lot of people will probably go for that $1 option. So in that regard, I think having a strong network of layer 2s is actually going to be very important, sort of going forward.
Well, and with a limited amount of the layer 1, if 2 or 3 people start different projects on it, will that impact the amount that is available to everyone as well?
So what was the question?
Sorry, I was just saying, like, on a layer 1 project, like, say Ethereum Fair, you're going to be on layer 1. Say 2 or 3 other projects that end up being as big as Ethereum Fair are on layer 1 as well. Will that impact the amount of availability of, say, what you can mine is out there for you, or no?
What do you mean by what you can mine?
So
because
so proof of work, like right now, you have a certain amount of Ethereum that you can mine, right? Like there isn't an infinite amount of it, right?
2 Ether per block, yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys are all separating off the same layer 1, will that impact the amount of supply for everyone, or no?
Well, you'll be getting like 2 Ether Fair per block on Ethereum Fair, and let's say the other project is Ethereum 1 or something. Okay, then you're going to be getting like 2 whatever that token is.
Oh, okay, so it's a totally different fork. It's not going to be just Ethereum. I'm getting confused a bit, I guess. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Should we open up the floor, or do any of the speakers have any questions or anything they want to mention as well?
I think just a quick add-on. I think the ultimate player that stands out will also dependent on the community, also dependent on the price of the fork. That controls everything. The price of the tokens are actually one of the determining factor. Whether the airdrop is going to worth something. Whether the all these POW forks is going to worth something. It all boils down to money, man. So and of course that part of that will be the price of the token, and that's also something that I really want to see. Are they all going to start at the same price of a POS? Same price as the Ethereum POS, or are they going to go the other way? So that's also something that we should watch out for, man.
I agree with you, Andy, because in my opinion, I believe, for example, if the price comes out to be a little bit lower, then that may kind of entice investors a little bit to come in because of the price, and eventually the price will excel. But if it comes in, let's say a little bit or substantially higher than the current Ethereum, that could cause some retail investors not to go in. Depending on their financial situation, of course.
Yes, the current Ethereum is trading at $1,700 and the exchange like BitCoke has listed the fork tokens, and I will give you some examples about the price. Currently, at the moment, Ethereum Fair is trading at $60, and Ethereum and another forked project is ETHPoW is trading at about $45. This price is much lower than the current Ethereum price, but they are at the same level as the Ethereum Classic.
What are the trading volumes of those forked coins?
Volume is very light.
I guess the price is not the determining a thing. It must be the the liquidity, like who got the higher trading volume, which means like more people choose it. Since blockchain is about consensus, so I guess the higher trading volume the coin has, then it will attract more attention.
Yes, basically the volume will goes to the winners of a POW fork, and I think but it will be decided. It is still uncertain about the final result. So let's wait and see.
So now we can open up the floor. Is there any questions? I know No Fame's had a couple, but is there anyone down below that has a question, that wants to ask anything about this merge right now? We do have a ton of people up here that definitely know what they're talking about. So it's definitely worth your time to ask a question if you have something you want to know. No Fame, do you have something else you want to add while we're waiting? That's funny. Anyways, I'm just interested by this because everybody is worried about greed as well when it comes to the price of the proof of stake. Is there a certain amount that you think people are going to continue to hold and potentially lose out? Because I think this price, you might see a spike in it and then see a massive drop in it as well. Just my theory, but what are your guys' theory in that?
Oh, I agree with you. I think after the fork, because the financial circumstances is not good, and we didn't see any signs that it's gonna get better. So maybe after the fork it will drop. So I agree with you.
For me, I think potentially it could rise because this merge has been anticipated for quite a while. You know, as Jenny mentioned previously, there were a lot of delays previously. So if this runs smoothly and is successful, it may actually potentially rise because it is like what Vitalik, what some of the Ethereum Foundation say, an upgrade. But I know some of you don't agree as well because it may not be an upgrade. But based on just the crypto market and how people view Ethereum merging, it may increase if everything runs smoothly. But of course, like what Jenny mentioned, there is also the macro economy. Since right now the macro market is so bad, even if the merge is successful, if the macro economy is down bad, I think it may drop as well. So not sure, depends on how we see things.
From the price actions, if you compare Ethereum and with Bitcoin, you guys may notice that the Ethereum has shown quite a lot of strength than Bitcoin. I think the market has a very good anticipation for this merge, and the Ethereum, in the very long term, I think will be the POS Ethereum will be the Apple of the blockchain, I think.
I'm interested. Like, I think there's a lot of stuff, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but you guys can expand on it maybe a little bit. But I don't know if Ethereum did enough education on what's going to happen with this merge. Like, we're discussing NFTs right now. There was discussions about gas fees and stuff and how they weren't going to go down to where people thought they were, because there's a lot of people thinking that gas prices would go down to next to nothing and then it would be a win-win for them. But now they're saying, no, that's not a thing. So is there some things that should have been educated beforehand for the people to know a little bit more? Like, I know following Andy, I've learned a lot and have grown myself, but everyone else here, what are your thoughts on the education side of this merge and what they could have done better?
Yeah, well, for the on the performance side, like transactions per second side, the merge is going to do absolutely nothing. It's going to be the same as before, right? And in terms of gas fees, the merge does nothing. It's going to be the same as before. If Vitalik gets sharding working, okay, that's going to be a big upgrade in terms of like the throughput. But he said he's going to do sharding 2018, got postponed to 2022. 4 years later, hasn't done it. I'm now not even sure if he's sort of ever going to do it. But all the things that he has done, certainly has contributed nothing to the scalability, or the affordability of the Ethereum blockchain.
They're working on sharding right now. Zheng sharding.
Yeah, they're working on sharding. But it's going to be after. But I think it's going to be after the proof of stake.
Yeah, definitely. Proof of stake's in a couple of days. I mean, Zheng sharding could be. I'm not sure how far they're even with the specification of that, but the idea is there, and they know that they want to do it. I mean, it's really hot in the dev community, so I think that'll be something that comes up. And the reason they want sharding is because L2 is where everyone should be doing NFTs right now, either Arbitrum or Optimism. Because that's going to be your low fees, and that's sharding is going to enable those two networks to really expand. Yeah,
I think if you look at what the Ethereum, not just Vitalik, but the entire Ethereum developers. If you look at what they've been saying in 2018, they're basically saying, okay, we're going to do ETH 2.0, and it's going to include proof of stake and sharding, right? That was the promise in 2018.
Yeah, but that's like ancient history in blockchain.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but instead they delivered proof of stake and EIP 1559, and so but 1559 doesn't actually do anything to the throughput, right? So I believe they will get sharding done eventually. But before they get sharding done, I'm not sure. I think all the throughput you can get, you can ever get right now is really through either layer 2 or from the other side chains or whatnot at this stage.
Yeah, I mean the technology doesn't even exist yet to really scale these in a decentralized manner. So it takes time to build. That's basically
Yeah.
and I think they're taking all the steps to increase that throughput as much as they can safely. Keep the network running, keep everyone happy. But it's always a function of supply and demand. I mean, when the network was hot, last year with NFTs, people are paying crazy amounts for it. Now it's, not as bad. But yeah, look at L2s, layer 2s, Arbitrum and Optimism. That's where, the more of the Ethereans are going to come and use Ethereum. Just because it's going to be way cheaper than layer 1 mainnet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like even before the merge, I noticed that the gas fee already decreased a lot. Like 2 days ago, I transferred one of the NFTs from one wallet to another. It only cost me like $1. So compared to early this year, is a huge drop on the gas fee. So I think it's already good enough.
Yeah, I mean, but I would anticipate it go back up. There's going to be an equilibrium somewhere with that price. It's always, based on supply and demand. So, you're seeing low prices now because demand has dropped off significantly. I think everyone is aware of that. But, there is still demand. So the network jumps along.
Yeah, I totally agree. It depends on the supply and demand. Just before, previously, Dr. Z had mentioned that the scalability or the speed will be the same. So will the price drop a lot after the merge? And I mean the gas fee. Will the gas fee drop a lot after merge?
No, not really. It should stay the same.
Nope. Should stay the same.
So it basically changed nothing. Just environmentally friendly.
I mean, if you want to split hairs, like right now, we're doing about 6,400 blocks a day with proof of work. There's about a 13-second time between each block, and they're trying to target 12, right? So after the merge, it's no longer proof of work. We don't have to wait for a hash to be calculated on average every 13 seconds. It'll be at 12 seconds on the dot. So we actually will make, by having an extra second between each block, we'll make 7,200 blocks per day. So what is that? Maybe a 10% increase in block capacity. But a lot of people think the kind of the latent demand on the system is just going to wipe that out immediately. So as an end user, you probably won't even see any change in prices.
Well, one thing I would want to say about proof of work is that there is this variance on interval times between blocks, right? Because whether you get the hash or not is really a matter of luck, right? And so there's a certain probability distribution that you get it in 10 seconds, and then sometimes you get it for 30 seconds. Whereas I guess with proof of stake, there's no such variance existing anymore.
Correct. Yeah, except for latency variance, from machines connecting across the globe, but that's tiny, in milliseconds probably.
Yeah.
Also, with proof of stake, maybe there may be a change in perception for retail investors, because now you can actually stake Ethereum, and get some interest. So people may see Ethereum in another way, as a way to earn interest, and maybe indirectly it could cause more interest in Ethereum as an asset, because now you can deposit Ethereum to earn some interest as compared to previously, where it is more the miners earning the rewards. Yeah.
I mean, I think, I don't know if the merge changes much in that respect. Maybe the interest rates will be a little bit higher because more of the fees are getting passed back to the stakers versus the miners. But you can already stake, even if you don't have the technical know-how. You can buy Coinbase ETH, you can buy Rocket Pool ETH, you could buy Lido staked ETH, and these are all coins that represent some share of the staking operation. Minus, I think it's usually the 15% commission. So if anyone was interested in staking before, I think they could have already staked, and they could stake today without having to be extremely technical about it. But there's a little bit less because of the 15% commission, and then the fees coming up after the merge, I think, will be more attractive for investors too. I think I'm most interested in does this create kind of a price floor on interest rates? Because if I have an investment here, Uniswap or something that's making 3%, but I can go over to ETH and I can make 5 or 6%. Wouldn't the rational thing be to go make the higher APR? And doesn't that in effect make a floor for the entire crypto community on interest rates? And what effect does that have? Does that suck liquidity out of less useful protocols?
Yeah, I think I think in terms of I think when sort of bull market comes, bull market comes back, when the whole network becomes busy again. I would agree with you. You're going to get this floor happening. But then at the same time, because you're in a bull market, there is no protocol that's a useless protocol in a bull market, right? So protocols only become useless when bear market hits, right? But in a bear market, you're probably not going to get that kind of a floor APY. I'd imagine.
I'm just going to add here, we're going to end this in about less than 5 minutes. So if anybody wants to ask anything, just ask really quickly, and then we're going to end the space. I know people that are in the group and the speakers that are up here right now are in a different time zone than me personally, so it's getting a little bit late for them, and I feel really bad for keeping them up. So
yeah, it's close to 1 a.m. now.
Oh my goodness,
in Singapore.
I'm so sorry for keeping you up so late.
No, but I'm learning a lot. Thanks for inviting us.
Late nights with crypto are the best.
Definitely.
That's when you know you're working hard.
Crypto never sleeps, so it's fine.
Yeah, my life became 24/7 once I was in crypto. There's no question, Monday to Sunday. You guys
have a good weekend.
Oh yeah, you guys as well. You got the start of the weekend here. We're still early Friday, so we're just beginning here in Canada and the US. So I hope you guys have a great weekend as well, and that everything goes amazing. That when this merge comes out, we're going to see only positive things and no negative. We don't need negative in the market right now. We definitely need to see the positive swing of things, and I think we will definitely see it. But, you know, there's a little bit of uncertainty with people right now, especially with regulators and the market the way it is. So have a great weekend, you guys. I really hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, you too, Scott. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.
I'll see you guys later. Have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No problem. Bye, you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.